3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by the Cochran Firm and Boston Scientific. Of course, we're live on YouTube and Facebook, and I am your host, Will Skywalker Steel. Boom! That's a big boom right there, baby. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Today, we dive into part 2 of our Hindsight 2022 series. We're talking about one of the hottest topics last offseason, one of the hottest topics during the season, and what's going to be one of the hottest topics this offseason, and that's wide receiver. We are going to evaluate each player, take a look at the position as a whole, maybe talk about who will return, who won't return. And more importantly, can this position turn around in 2023? I think there's potential to do so based off of the shift possibly schematically. But that does not mean that it doesn't need to be addressed in some form or fashion. And obviously, we'll have shows where we talk about the wide receivers in the draft. We'll have shows where we talk about the wide receivers in free agency. But today, we're just kind of evaluating what the Cowboys had last year and why. I've said this to you guys before. The Cowboys pretty much admitted they f***ed up. Yeah, they admitted it without admitting it until Jerry admitted it a few weeks ago. And we'll get to all of that. And sticking with the theme, we're going to take a look at a couple wide receivers that could be on the way out. One is definitely on the way out. The other one is potentially on the way out in a different manner in the roundup. So it's a wide receiver themed show today. And we're just going to take a look at everything from top to bottom. And appreciate y'all for being here, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Yes, indeedy. Feed the needy. Toxic already with it. Wide receiver by committee is BS. Yeah, they realized it. And we'll see if they address it here in the offseason, or if McCarthy could potentially utilize his scheme to help it. So, I mean, that's a lot of the conversation that we'll have today. So appreciate y'all for being here. Look, let's get right into it. You can call into the show if you want. 351-999-3787. We'll talk about the wideouts and talk about whatever you want to talk about here on Cowboys morning show. And let's hit this roundup and get into it. We got a good show lined up. Shouldn't be too long, but that's always up to y'all. Let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time. It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
I see the trolling has already begun. You gotta love it, Cowboys Nation. You got to love Cowboy fans. Hey, yo. AJ Green. Let's give a big salute to AJ Green, who retires after 12 seasons in the NFL, man. When he was healthy, was one of my favorite wide receivers to watch play, man. He just played the game at such a high level when he was healthy. That was a problem with AJ Green. He just could never be healthy. He never remained healthy, never stayed healthy. But when he did, man, he was one of the best playing in the game, in my opinion. 6'4" dude, 200-some pounds. One of the better deep ball guys, jump ball guys, just a phenomenal wide receiver. 12 years in the league, 7 Pro Bowls, 2-time second team All-Pro, by the way. 4th overall pick in what was a ridiculously loaded, and I mean loaded, 2011 draft class. I wonder if that's going to go down as like a top 5 draft class in that first round, or top 5, top 10. Let me just say that. They had like 2 misses in that draft, I think it was, but that was a ridiculous first round, ridiculous top 10. And AJ Green was a part of that, man. 10,500 plus yards in his career, 70 touchdowns, over 700 receptions. Is he a Hall of Famer, though? I think the numbers say so. But I know a lot of people say, well, can you talk? This is what I often hear about all sports, really. Can you talk about the game of football during that time without mentioning that player? I've heard that. I'm like, that's not a bad criteria, but it's a Hall of Fame, not Hall of Very Good, right? I don't know. I don't know if I could put AJ in the Hall of Fame. Maybe ask me that question in like 3 years, but I would hold off at this point in time. But man, the numbers say so. When you have over 10,000 career receiving yards and 70 touchdowns, it usually means you're Hall of Fame worthy. But I also think you got to kind of take into account the era, right? Hall of Very Good, Hall of Fame, not quite ready to say that just yet. Another receiver that's potentially on the outs but not retiring unless he decides to retire because he's also a hurt guy, is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, a couple other guys are up for discussion to be potentially cut in L.A., which is ironic because Kellen Moore went there and we talked about how he should have a ton of success over there with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert type of situation. But they could potentially be losing Keenan Allen, who will be 31 next couple months in April. He's a hurt guy. He plays, but he's also a hurt guy. Missed some time this year from being a hurt guy. One of the best route runners in the league. We talked about this yesterday when somebody brought it up. I'd pick up the phone because that's the question, right? Would you sign a Keenan Allen, who probably is going to be looking north of $10 million, maybe more than what Michael Gallup, has? And I'm still torn on it. I'll probably pick up the phone, talk to him, what you're talking about. But I was saying this to myself. Part of me, if it ain't DeAndre Hopkins, I'm looking for like long-term-ish solutions. I want to build something at that position. I want to have, guys that can grow up in this scheme if they're going to be here for a while with this quarterback, with this team. And you can say, well, we got that guy with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. That is true. Maybe it'll be CeeDee and Michael Gallup for the foreseeable future, but we'll get to the Michael Gallup situation. I think if you were to sign, though, a Keenan Allen or trade for a Hopkins, I think they would come in right away and be better than Michael Gallup. So I get the appeal of wanting a Keenan Allen, and I would pick up the phone, right? But he is going to be 31. He is a hurt guy. You're not really looking at this as a long-term solution. It'd be a right now solution, and that's fine, right? Like if you're just trying to get somebody in here, you're not really comfortable with the wide receiver draft class, you're not comfortable with the wide receiver free agents, and you say, well, listen, let's just punt on wide receiver early and go get an established guy right now, then Keenan Allen, I think, would definitely be one of your best options because you don't have to give up any picks if he's cut. They could look to trade him. But if he's cut, you can just straight up sign him. So there's pros, there's cons to this situation, but he's a hell of a player when he's healthy, man. He showed that last year. If he is not returning to LA, I think that's a huge loss for the Chargers because Mike Williams is another hurt guy. Fantastic talent, but just always hurt. So, you lose Keenan. The odds of you losing Mike Williams for some games are pretty high. The cupboard's bare there for them. So, I mean, if I was LA, I would try to do some type of renegotiation to keep him. But if he's on the market, I will 100% reach out, have a conversation, see what's up. But we all know here in Dallas, it's going to come down to that pie.
That boy went crazy.
It's going to come down to that pie, Cowboys Nation. All right, let's talk this wide receiver room. And like I said at the top of the show, your front office, not me, not fans, not the media, although the media would never, the mainstream media would never talk about that because that just kills their agendas on things. Your front office came out and said, we f***ed up. We f***ed up. That's on me. That's on me, baby. And they did that actually without saying that during the season. They tried to go get the Brandon Cooks. They inquired on the Jerry Judys. They did this song and dance with Odell Beckham and eventually settled on T.Y., which put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. They told you, man, listen, it ain't working out. Then Jerry Jones came out after the season because the season's over. Now I can talk a little bit. It said, yeah, listen, man. In fact, you listen to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones says it out of his own mouth to you people that, yeah, dog, we messed that one up. Take a listen.
You could say that we probably had too much reliance on what Tolbert could do, because we were high on him coming out and thought he could immediately be a factor. We had thought that possibly we could have better results relative to Gallup as far as his rehab and where he is. So I could say that. The other parts of it, the elephant in the room that you're talking about, was when I look at the salary that was involved there, over $20 million a
Mark
year,
Cupper.
And I look at what we got with that salary to help this team, that we wouldn't have been able to have on this team had we kept it.
Jerry,
I like what we did.
Jerry, you don't got to try to sell me, brother. Listen, let's have the conversation. We don't got to talk about Amari Cooper, even though they asked him about Amari Cooper. The reason for the audio wasn't about Amari Cooper, because I've said this many of times. Whatever, you're going to trade guys, you're going to cut guys. That's fine. No one cares when about that. I hear you, B-Bird, on there. Just give me a second. Let me mute your ear. It was always about how do you replace that? Guys get traded. Guys get cut. Guys move. All right. Now, how do we replace it? Your front office has told you we failed in that replacement. We failed in that replacement, so we tried to go do X, Y, Z, and that didn't work out. We thought that Michael Gallup, coming off an ACL injury in December, was going to be some new Michael Gallup. I don't know why you thought that, Jerry. We thought that this, South Alabama wide receiver Jalen Tolbert was going to come in here and be wide receiver 2 right away. Now, I felt a little bit of that too until I went down to camp and I was like, I don't think so. But you thought that. You thought that James Washington was going to come in here and be one of those guys. We thought that, who else did it? Dennis Houston was going to be a guy. And then when you look around the league, it's like, uh-oh. Wait a minute. It's not normally how that works, especially given the scheme that you were running. You actually, and I don't know how many times I've said this on the show, in this particular scheme, I think you relied more on the talents of those wide receivers. Thus, that's why you saw things not be too crazy when you had 19 out there with 13 and 88. So, how did those wide receivers do? Let's talk about the down roster guys here. The first few, or really this whole entire list here, didn't contribute to anything. But Dallas, in an attempt to add more talent, signed Antonio Callaway, right? In the middle of the season, practice squad, didn't do anything. That's fine. I think they actually signed him and Dontario Drummond and Dennis Houston. I think all three of these guys, if I'm not mistaken, to future contracts. So all three of those guys will return. Dontario Drummond, I don't want to call him a camp darling, but he showed some promise in camp and had some snags in the preseason. We'll see what he can do out of Ole Miss. Dennis Houston was the camp darling. He was the guy that, in all fairness, was showing up. He was doing some good things in camp, and I say good things, I mean, just basic wide receiver things. But hey, for an undrafted dude, you can't really look down on that. He was doing what he could do to state to the front office, I got something here. It didn't work out. They elected to go with Dennis Houston as essentially a starter in week 1. I think he eventually got benched the next week or the week after, and we didn't hear from Dennis. He got cut, actually, not just benched, cut. Then we heard from Dennis Houston on the team until he came back to the practice squad. These last two are interesting because I think there can be some positive energy put into these guys with what Law likes to do, the known unknown. Meaning Simi Fehoko and Jalen Tolbert. Simi and Tolbert for that matter. But Simi fits the mold of what Mike McCarthy likes. Simi, 6'3", bigger receiver, runs fast. He could be a possession guy. He can do some deep things. I thought he had a fantastic camp. I truly did. I don't know if politics got. I don't know what happened. And maybe once you get into the regular season and you're doing more things, it's not a vanilla offense. You're relying on guys that can be where they need to be or know the playbook or know XYZ. And maybe Simi just didn't. We know Dennis and Jalen didn't. And maybe Simi was still trying to figure that out. I don't know. But I am really intrigued on what he can do moving forward under Mike McCarthy's new scheme. I look at him in kind of that Allen Lazard type of role. I remember one of the last big wide receivers the Cowboys or Mike McCarthy drafted in Green Bay was, help me out now. It's a weird last name. Something St. Brown. I'm not going to mess up his first name. Equanimous. Is that it? Equanimous St. Brown. I think that was the last receiver they drafted. But if you go look at his history, he's drafted guys like this. He likes the bigger body dudes to put out there for his quarterback. And in the West Coast offense, you can understand why, because you're going to be talking about slants. You're going to be talking about meshes. And you want these guys to kind of have a bigger catch radius when they're closer to you. And he could do some things after the catch. So I actually like Simi coming into training camp this season. I'm going to keep my eye on him. He eventually got put on IR. I think it was one of those things where it's like, all right, young fella, just have a seat. We'll give you another redshirt year and we'll see what happens. He's also a guy that if it doesn't work out, it really doesn't harm you. He was a 5th round pick. Jalen Tolbert, though. Maybe one of the bigger disappointments on the team. And I say that not trying to come at Jalen. I mean, that's tough to transfer from South Alabama into this particular offense, into the NFL. And again, I talk about learning to be a pro and things like that. He actually talked about that. But out there at camp, I actually had an opportunity to talk to Jalen Tolbert after practice one day. And I was asking him about, is he getting more comfortable out there with Dak Prescott? Is he, picking up things? And I think at that time, James Washington got hurt. Gallup wasn't out there. So there was a lot on his shoulder and how he was handling it. But I'll play the interview for you guys. This was back in August at some point.
So how you feeling after, a couple weeks of training camp, your first one down there?
It's definitely a special experience. Being able to come out here and put in work every day with my brothers. We come out and compete every day. We work to get better with each other and against each other. So it's definitely special. I'm enjoying every moment of it.
Getting more and more confident the more and more you're out here with Dak?
Yeah, definitely. Keep learning. If I mess something up, we review it in film, we talk about it, come out here and try to perfect it the next day. So, I'm growing every day.
As a young receiver, when you see guys like Gallup who is not in the room right now, and then Washington who got hurt, do you look at this as an opportunity? Is it a little bit of a downer that you don't have these, older veterans in there anymore? Or you look at this as, hey, this is the time for me to step up?
I think it's a bit of both. A downer just because, those are my brothers, those are our guys, and, they're injured right now, so we gotta work for them. And so, it's an exciting experience to know that I can come in and help and be an impact for the team, and like I said, go earn that star, earn that role on the team. But also at the end of the day, you want everybody to be able to exceed, succeed, and be able to be healthy and play. And so, even though MG and James aren't out there, they continue to, brother me and tell me when I do something wrong, what I need to fix, some nuances that they may have. And so, it's definitely all around pretty good experience.
All right, hey, Tolbert, I appreciate you. We got Jalen Tolbert joining us, AZ Sports. Thank you, brother.
Yep, sure.
I see in the chat, somebody said Tolbert wasn't given an opportunity. That's false. Tolbert was given an opportunity. It's just, it is what it is, man. These guys are young players. Especially a guy coming from South Alabama in a system like this that's required. It's a lot, it's a lot they require out of you for a young wide receiver. He just didn't pick it up. And Tolbert actually, mentioned some of these things after the season. I think he went to the Senior Bowl and he spoke about that. And he said some things. He said this right here. I had to learn the business side of stuff, the position side of things. I had to learn multiple positions. I had to learn a lot of stuff. Now I know what to work on, what I need to do and where I need to be what positions I need to know. Now I can go into next year and not have to learn and play. Listen to that part. Learn and play at the same time, but just go out there, be comfortable and confident, and just go play and show why I got drafted. There's so much into that that's packed into there that you can just piece out, and you can understand that he just wasn't ready. He's admitting to you, I wasn't ready, man. I was trying to learn, but if I'm trying to learn, I can't be out there when I'm needed, when I'm relied upon. Learning on the fly. I couldn't even line up, first of all. I mean, he couldn't even line up in Green Bay in a very critical moment. And I've seen somebody trying to blame the quarterback for that. I don't know how you blame the quarterback for the wide receiver not understanding basic wide receiver things to do. But Tolbert is telling you, hey, it was a learning year for me. It was a lot. And we had this conversation with Jesse a ton about how difficult it is to transition from this modern day college, offenses to where they're not really calling long plays in the huddle. The playbooks aren't as extensive. It's very simplified for these dudes. And now coming into an offense where, let's be real, you heard Jerry Jones. Yeah, we was relying on Jalen Tolbert, man. We were relying on Jalen Tolbert. And I didn't even bring up the buzzword there, Tuck, the option routes. I mean, that is a tough ask for a guy like Tolbert, who it looked like they wanted him to do wide receiver 2 things and also learn slot things and XZ things. They wanted him to do everything. It's tough. It is what it is. But he said, I'm excited for the offseason as well as the coaches are for me to take that next step and have a big jump from year 1 to year 2. Simi Fehoko and Jalen Tolbert, I think, have potential to showcase their talents in this West Coast style of offense. I do. I think it'll allow them, like Tolbert, I think could be a guy they get deep. Same thing with Simi, a guy they can get deep, red zone guy. I mean, if Simi didn't get hurt when Michael Gallup was out, I would have 100% would have loved to see them utilize Simi Fehoko in the red zone. He was an absolute menace at training camp in the red zone. A menace. Tough to deal with. When you're that big, you're that strong. He was always clutch in the red zone. But I think they could have roles in this new West Coast, if it is West Coast, this West Coast offense, and productive roles. And it'll allow them not to think so much when they're out there. They could just play. And you heard from Jalen Tolbert's mouth, I had to learn and play. Now I can go out there and just play. And I often bring up the story about Michael Gallup, his rookie year. He said, I really didn't understand professional football and get it together till the end of my rookie year, where Allen Hurns took me under his wing. I often bring that up because that is 9 times out of 10 for guys that aren't the CeeDee Lambs, the Jeffersons, the Chases, the Odells, the Mike Evans of the world. 9 times out of 10, it takes time, even with these new rules. And depending where you come from, it can be even more difficult to learn some of these offenses. All right, let's get B Bird. He was on hold. Let's bring him up in here real quick on the Pulse of the Nation phone lines presented by the Cochran Firm. Since 2005, my guys Larry and Brian have been crushing it down there at the Cochran Firm, fighting for the Dallas-Fort Worth area community and Houston as well. And their attorneys handle the most challenging civil cases, and they handle civil cases on a contingent fee basis, meaning if there's no financial recovery, then they charge no fee. So it does not hurt you to pick up that phone, give them a call. You can hit them up at 1-800-THE-FIRM or schedule your free consultation today at CochranTexas.com. Good morning, Original OG. What's up with you?
Nothing much, guy. How you doing? I want to tell you right now, I appreciate this conversation today because I think that the wide receiver, the mismanagement, was our undoing this year, to be honest with you. So I appreciate your attacking this information early.
No problem.
I think with the simplification of the offense, Tolbert's going to be better, Simi's going to be better, and we're going to get Gallup back, and we're going to blah, 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 blah. That's all the best-case scenario stuff, man. And that's what the Cowboys did last year, and we can't rely on that anymore. That can still happen, but that doesn't mean that you don't go out and do something else. One of the things that I look at is, I guess what happened last year is when Cooper left, all they did was move a wide receiver up the totem pole, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So CD goes to be a number 1.
Yep.
Gallup theoretically goes to be a number 2. Brown goes from a number 5 to a number 3, and we did it that way. I would tell everyone that, and I told you this, I'll use this analogy again. Scott, I said it a long time ago. In 2015, and this is basketball, the Golden State Warriors lost to Cleveland Cavaliers, right? So they went out. They could have they had, Steph, one of the greatest shooters to ever play. Clay, in that same breath, not as good, but one of the better. That's the best combo. And then they had Green. So they had a big 3. They didn't go get a 4th at the bottom of that to add to go back and go to Cleveland. They went and got KD and put him at number 1, which moves Steph to number 2 on the team, best player on the team. Then moves Clay to number 3. And then it moves Green to your number 4.
Yeah.
So now you have the best 2, the best 3, and the best 4 in the league. I mean, not the 4, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
It's
the inverse of what Dallas did, essentially.
It's the inverse of what Dallas did. And I've been really banging this the other day. Banging this because I look at what KC did for Mahomes, and he's supposed to be the best quarterback in the league, and he is. But they didn't go and just, say, okay, well, we got Miko Hardman, we'll just throw some guys around him, because, no, when they lost Hill, the 2 guys that they got were their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. So the thing about
they attacked it aggressively. It wasn't a bunch of number 1s, but they went out and attacked it aggressively, and then continued to do so during the season. We're getting Kadarius Toney. Now he's going to have a challenge. A couple of those guys might not be playing on Sunday.
Yeah, but that doesn't. The decision still was better than the way we attacked it.
Right, absolutely.
And so it's just that I just want us to go, man. I'm going to tell you, I'll change my whole perception of this organization. It'll start to change if they went and got a Hopkins, if they went and traded and got a Diggs, because I'm not saying that they'll be better than CD, but that would change up the top of the order. We need a top flight wide receiver, man. We don't need nobody. But we can still draft somebody, but I don't want to rely on the draft pick for 2023 and 2024.
So I actually think Lamb is him, as the young bucks say. I think Lamb is fantastic. I think he's one of the best receivers in the league. So if you go get a Hopkins, I think you're pairing him with Lamb. I'm not looking at it as
correct. 1
is 1, 1 is 2. I think that's 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. But I do think you need somebody to complement him. And unfortunately, it seems like we're going to have to rely on Michael Gallup to be that guy. We can wish for the Hopkins of the worlds, the Higgins of the worlds, the Keenan Allens. The reality is, right now, speaking in February, I don't really see that happening, unfortunately. So if that's not going to happen, maybe, B-Bird, we might have to go into the draft and grab one of these traitsy wide receivers that can, come in and develop as we're going here. I know it's a bit risky, but given our history, do you really see them going out there and getting Hopkins?
Well, the thing is that I think what happens is when a team like Philadelphia is in your division and that's who you have to shoot for, we can't play around with this team right now. Look what they did with their wide receiver position. They did the same thing KC did. They went and got a number 1 wide receiver, and it just fortified their wide receiver room. These people have minimized wide receivers over the years, but I think the NFL is catching on now. No, we need these guys, and we got to actually pay these guys, and we have to. This is an important position. And I'll say this, Scott, and from the second play of the game, first play of the second quarter against San Francisco. After that, no other receiver not named CeeDee Lamb didn't catch a pass to the last one of the game. That's totally unacceptable. That's not on just scheme, and that's not on just Dak Prescott, man. We need to get somebody out there that the other team respects. That's what the problem
fair.
is.
That is 100% fair.
They just don't respect what we're putting out there, y'all. And we can run all these schemes, and just like we played against Jacksonville, I think it was one of the last plays of the game. I don't know if 3 guys didn't follow CD up the seam, and it was like everybody else is 1-on-1. We don't have other guys that can win 1-on-1 battles. We have to get the guy in here with the talent and the reputation, and that's why I say D Hop, because D Hop and CD are cool from the Houston days, because CD is from this area, and so I think we got to be aggressive in it. Yeah, favorite player. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, man. And I think it'll be financially, hard for the Joneses to do it. But I think you really got 2 years with Dak Prescott to see this thing out. And, man, you got to pair him. And just do what other normal teams do. Just do what normal teams do. They would go in for that. It's been identified as a weakness from last year. Hey, we can attack it with the draft, but we also need to attack it with, some known players that we know what we're going to get out of, and that does something in the league.
I wish they would have did essentially what Philly did. Instead of signing Michael Gallup, just trade that first-round pick, go get A.J. Brown, and now you got A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb for at the very least the next, if you included last year, the next 3 seasons. That's what you could have had. Yeah, but.
Well, look here, man. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Appreciate this conversation. I think this is a conversation that, again, Scott, we lost the San Francisco game before the season started with the Cooper trade, and that's just what got us, man. And so what I'm saying is this is very important what you're talking about today. I think it's the most important position or room on this team that we have to fortify, man. So I appreciate you having this conversation. I'm continue listening, brother.
Heavy. Appreciate you, B-Bird, as always. Heavy. That might have to be a question we pose. Wide receiver or offensive line? Because some can say, well, technically, offensive line, if they happen to run it back, I mean, Governor will be back. Yeah, you'd be fine. But I think it's a lot of risk in that 41-year-old tackle, Tyron Smith. And I think, again, I said this before, of the money 5 positions, receiver just keeps creeping up. It used to not mean, and I won't say mean anything, but it used to be way down. I don't even think it was in the money 5 at one point. You're talking in the 90s, early 2000s. And then as the league started transitioning to being more of a passing league, as the league started favoring offenses, receivers start keeping up, and the money showed it as well. So that's a fair question. Also, see, there's some confusion on, and I would love, again, for Will to call in here so we can have real conversations about scheme and whatnot of the West Coast offense. First of all, the West Coast offense is a quarterback-friendly offense. Number one. That's number one. Your question or your whatever you said in the chat was something along the lines of, well, didn't we want to run the ball more last year? Now we're going to get the most pass-happy system. The reason why we all wanted to run the ball more was because your wide receiver situation. That is the number one reason why. Going into the season, most of us was like, okay, if we're going to be a defensive team and we're going to roll out CeeDee Lamb and not even the fun bunch, because that's disrespectful to the fun bunch. CeeDee Lamb and the boys. James Washington got hurt. Michael Gallup's not ready. Tolbert, Houston, Semi, Noah. Yeah, bro, you need to run the ball. You're going to need to lean on the run, lean on the play action, and all that stuff. What the West Coast allows you to do is it allows the passing game to be more efficient from big play standpoint, efficient from underneath. It gets guys on the move. It uses the running backs and the running backs in the passing game is more like the running game. Makes life easier for the receivers, makes life easier for the running back. For the quarterback, etc. It's, as Aaron Rodgers said, the most beautiful offense. That's what he said. It's the most beautiful offense created. So running a West Coast offense is not a negative, in my opinion, for the Cowboys. I don't believe so at all. I think it's going to help these young guys like a Simi and like a Jalen Tolbert. Now, if you can add another dude, one of them dudes, it's even better. But that's why me personally, I can't speak for everybody. Me personally wanted to lean on the run game and play action early in the season because I didn't think we had the horses to do what we did in the previous 3 seasons from a passing game standpoint. That also doesn't mean go away from being balanced. Like, you can still remain balanced. But I don't want to see run on first, run on second majority of the season. You can still remain balanced. So, I understand you're jaded. So a lot of what you say in the chat is with sarcasm and pessimism and all that stuff. But when you remove all that, I would love to have a real conversation with you if you would like. But I got a feeling of where that would turn into. All right, let's get to the main guys and run through these, and then we'll get to the rest of the phone lines. Let's start off with Kevontae Turpin. Okay. I don't even know really where he fits in next year. I don't. I think Turpin's usage was a mystery to me this season. And the more I thought about this, Cowboys Nation, and I look back in Mike McCarthy's history, and even if you want to look at Schottenheimer's history, I don't know where he fits. Now, these guys may say, hey, you know, I've learned, I've grown myself, and we can find a spot for a Kevontae Turpin in his offense. But Kellen really was the best shot, as we speak here in February, to utilize a Kevontae Turpin because he had a quirky offense. But he didn't even do that. So I think he's going to return. I think he's probably going to be your return guy, but I don't even know if he's going to have a role in this particular offense. I don't think Kevontae Turpin is a West Coast type of dude. Now, he can stretch a field. He can a couple plays here and there, and every team can use that no matter what the offensive system is. So maybe they'll do that, but I have a hard time seeing him fitting in next season as part of this offense, more so as a gadget player if they just, and that's what he is. I mean, he's a gadget player. Use him as a gadget. You know, send him on deep routes here and there. But I don't know if he's going to be here, but I don't know if he's going to be a part of this offense. So I got to put a question mark around Kevontae Turpin next season. Noah Brown, in my opinion, showed you why he was a career wide receiver 5 and a special teams guy. You know, those type of players, they can have a game, they can have a moment, they can have a catch here and there. But there are guys you do not count on game in, game out, and consistently can deliver. That's just who they are. And it's a tough ask for Noah Brown to say, hey, dog, we gonna get rid of Coop. James Washington went down. Gallup ain't coming back. You are wide receiver 2. And not just a wide receiver 2 for the first 6 weeks until Gallup comes back or whatever it was, 3 weeks, but practically for the remainder of the season. You know, that's not an easy task for a guy like a Noah Brown. That's not who he is. And he had times he gave you some catches. He had times he made some plays. But majority of the time, he is who he was, a career backup special teams guy. And I'm telling you right now, if Noah Brown finds his way on this team next year, I might have to do some investigative reporting or investigative journalism, whatever it's called. Because there's no way. Let's be real. All right, I'm not trying to be funny with Noah Brown. Sell me on bringing Noah Brown back, Cowboys Nation. T-Mac says, Scott, you bring him? No, I'm not bringing Noah Brown back. But I'm trying to get y'all, anybody that's like, oh, Scott, you too hard on Noah Brown. Sell me. And if you can't sell me, that goes to show you who the hell was out there as wide receiver 2 for majority of this year in this particular offense. And as B. Bird said, need some people that they respect. You think they respected Noah Brown. But anyway, sell me on bringing Noah Brown back. Let me see here. Right, Tuck. That's going to tell us everything we know. Noah Brown has pictures of Stephen Jones, says Oscar. Okay. Let's see here. Mike McCarthy learned a new age offense. Ain't no way come back. Nah, let Noah go. Don't have anything to sell, says Bart. Sell me on bringing Noah back. I mean, there's got to be somebody here that's pro Noah Brown. No? My point exactly. Moving on. T.Y. Hilton. This T.Y. Hilton, honestly, should be the poster boy of the Cowboys mismanaging, a.k.a. f***ing up, trying to get the help. Like, not only did they mismanage the position in the offseason, these fools managed to mismanage the help. What are you talking about, Scott? So they realized we screwed up. Let's go try to make a trade for Cooper or for Cooks and for Mims and for Judy. That didn't work out. Once that didn't work out, y'all asses should have been on the horn with T.Y. Hilton right away. Instead, they wanted to wine and dine and text and stay up late on the phone with their feet on the ceilings, chilling on the dryer, listening to Pretty Ricky in the background, trying to woo Odell Beckham, who ain't have a knee. Y'all was getting catfished by Odell Beckham, all while the baddie down the street who don't want the attention, who ain't on Instagram, who ain't taking the pictures, who studies and gets good grades, she wear glasses and a ponytail and you think she ain't all that. But then when you fix your eyes a little bit, clean your glasses, you be like, damn, I could work with that. Could have been, you could have had your guy. So they even mismanaged the goddamn on help. They decided to bring T.Y. Hilton in here at the end of the season. He had no chance to really get acclimated. They didn't feature them, dude, at all. Where had you brought him in week, was it 8? Brought him in week 8 and said, hey, look, let's see what we got here with T.Y. We'll continue to monitor this Odell Beckham situation. If Odell Beckham can indeed play, hell, we'll sign him if he wants to be here. If not, which he couldn't, then you don't lose anything, but you gain so much by having T.Y. Hilton. So they ended up mismanaging T.Y. He gave you some plays, but I thought T.Y. could have been if T.Y. came in week 8, I think he takes Michael Gallup's spot way sooner than we all believed it. After the Eagles game, we thought T.Y. should have took Gallup's spot. But in reality, though, right? Like, he got 3 to 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever. I think by the time you got to to that playoff stretch, T.Y. is now integrated. T.Y. is now part of the offense, and he's not kind of an afterthought. So it was just frustrating how they mismanaged, in my opinion, the help. They mismanaged the help, man. Let's get to Michael Gallup. I'm going to list Michael Gallup's injury history over the last 3 seasons. Meniscus tear, hip strain, calf strain, ACL tear, knee surgery, which was a meniscus repair after the ACL tear, and ankle surgery. I have Michael Gallup, he's going to have to just show it to me, man. He's going to have to show it to me. That's tough to look at and say, yep, I can count on Michael Gallup moving forward to be him, as the Young Bucks say, or to be one of those guys, oppo of Lamb, or to be one of those guys that NFL defenses say, oh my goodness, we better respect he ain't T. Higgins. He's supposed to be T. Higgins. He ain't T. Higgins. But I don't think Michael Gallup is going anywhere. So we just got to hope that hurt guy is able to be healthy guy and perform at a level he hasn't performed at since his second year in the league. And he's going into year 6. We talk about mismanaging the help. I think they mismanaged Michael Gallup's situation. I'm all for these players getting their bread. Get your bread, young man. But it probably shouldn't have been here. It probably should have been somewhere else. Collect your comp pick, put your pettiness aside, and keep Coop. All right, cool. You want to get rid of Coop. Well, pick up the damn phone, because if A.J. Brown was available, and they got A.J. Brown for the 18th overall pick, I don't see why Dallas couldn't pick that phone up. But that's revisionist history on the trade department situation. You want to see my reaction to that trade? Go watch our draft show from last season. And then finally, CeeDee Lamb. Funny thing is with CD, I said, man, about 1,500 yards if they really use him like that. And he was close. 1,300 plus yards, 9 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, I think, put all that wide receiver one talk to bed. That we shouldn't even be having these conversations. Like, CeeDee Lamb is the guy we expected CeeDee Lamb to be when he was drafted. Point blank, period. CeeDee Lamb is that dude. Would I like to see him operate a little bit more in the boundary? Yes, I've talked about that for the last 2 seasons. He did more of it in 2021, less of it this year. Almost practically none of it in his rookie season, which was understandable. Michael Gallup was healthy. Amari Cooper was here. I think CeeDee Lamb is made to be a Z wide receiver that can go inside and do slot things. But because of his situation, he came in with already an X and a Z year 1. Year 2, same thing. But then Gallup got hurt and he was asked to be outside. And he did some good things out there. Then year 3, once you got rid of Amari Cooper and Gallup wasn't going to be there, it was like they understood the assignment. They knew that, okay, teams are going to do everything to take him out. We can't possibly corner him into one situation on the outside. And I'm not saying you got to do that in general, but they realized the best way to get him involved, given our current situation, was to put him in a slot and get him on the move. I'm not mad at that. But if they can find a guy that can do these underneath things, I would love to see what he can do operating out there majority of the time and then coming in like 35, 40% of the time in the slot and continue to do slot things. But, you know, in this West Coast offense, if it is West Coast, I got to keep putting that there. We don't know what they're going to do. I would love to see CeeDee operate as a primary dude. Would love to see it out there, not in the slot. He's already primary last season, but out on the boundary. I think getting him on mesh routes out there, getting him doing some more dagger things. I think he's a good route runner. The only problem with his, if you call it route running, was more so the IQ portion of things when Dak got back, right? They were incorporating more of the option situation, and that threw some things off. But I think at the line of scrimmage, man, he can route some people up. Think at the stem, he can route some people up. We've seen it. I mean, you can go back and look at some of the film we broke down when we did, our Tape Tuesdays. And a lot of that was on the boundary. So I would like to see him operate a little bit more out there. But I have no qualms on CeeDee Lamb. I mean, nobody's talking about him dropping balls, none of that stuff. Because CeeDee Lamb proved he's that guy. He proved he's that guy. So that is kind of our review of the 2022 wide receiver room, which, if we're being completely honest, from a total standpoint, I almost caught myself here. Was it underwhelming, or was it about what we expected? That's the question. Was the receiver room underwhelming to you or about what you expected? I didn't even have time to think about this, so I'm thinking about this on the fly with y'all. I would probably go with the latter, because I said that Lamb was going to do his thing, and he did. Wasn't quite sure about the rest, though. Maybe individually, I say I'm underwhelmed about the Tolbert thing. I thought Tolbert would at least contribute. He didn't even do that. But in reality, it probably is about what you would expect. C said it overachieved. Whew, if you consider that overachieving. Underachieve, about what expected. It was gross. They cleaned up the miscommunication between Dak and Lamb. And you know what I think they did, Spot? I think they eliminated that particular route. Remember one show I came on here and I was like, hey, they got to do something about this. Either A, send somebody else's ass across that middle to run that route, or B, eliminate it. I really didn't see them run that kind of slot post, read the, post or seam, whatever you want to call it, dig or whatever, that read the safety, cross the line or cross the face route that much. After that, I want to say Green Bay game, really didn't see them run that route that much, which good, because it was just not hitting on a consistent basis, and teams were just sitting on that. Teams were disguising that particular situation and saying, okay, look, I'll live with you having to decide to make that correct read, CD and Dak, please. And we also picked up a tell where if CD was in the slot with non-motion, we called it the 88 tell. He was likely running one of two things: seam or that route. That's what kind of happened throughout the season. Don't need said. He's Noah 2.0. I mean, I'd welcome said back for sure. I thought said was really good in what he did. But yeah, I'd take said back. With the money looking like, right? But I'd take said back for sure. Like, I don't think you're not tearing down this room. But I don't think you want to put all your eggs in the Simi and Jalen Tolbert basket either. Because that's all you have on the right. Like, you got Lamb, hurt guy Gallup, and then unknowns. And you can almost put Gallup in an unknown. Said is a known. He's a known unknown. No, he's a known, right? Like, you know that Said can be a good slot. Said has reliable hands. He can do other things for you. Yeah, I wouldn't mind bringing a Said Wilson back in this offense at all. Not at all. And he's probably not going to cost you a lot. We're not talking about paying a whole lot of money. All right, let's get back into the phone lines. We got Russell D on the horn. What's good, Russ?
Hey, what's up, Sky? How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, real good. Hey, a couple things I got for you. Actually, someone just brought up Cedric Wilson. What I was going to say is that hopefully Tolbert can turn into the Cedric Wilson where it took him a few years to get going, where, you know, Cedric Wilson didn't really come on the scene until like year 3.
Yep.
So that's the only thing that you can really hope with Tolbert is that. But like you said, we can't put all our eggs in the basket of those 3. And then it just seems like the whole year how it was handled was more reactive than proactive, the whole receiver room. You know, if we're even going to think about getting rid of Amari Cooper, we needed to be more of proactive even beforehand of getting rid of him. And it still baffles me, us even getting rid of him. I mean, a guy that was a class act, kept his mouth shut, did his job, did his work. He was a great teammate, you know, awesome player, young, still in the middle of his, you know, burst career. And we're signing players that are like at the end of their career, T.Y. Hilton. And I'm really skeptical and concerned still. I mean, I love the old OBJ idea, but who knows? He could be Michael Gallup, you know, 2023.
Yeah,
I'm real hesitant. I'm real hesitant of that. Hesitant of that.
He's actually lower than the Keenan Allen. Like I would much rather hit up Keenan Allen than Odell Beckham Jr. He's kind of my last resort. If I can't land one of those big fish or I strike out in free agency, then I'll pick up the phone and talk to Odell. But it's still not an ideal situation. Like, you had an ideal situation, you decided to shake it up, and now you're trying to make up for that. And no matter how much, you know, you hate this person or that person, like, you can't look at this room and be like, it is ideal. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the other thing I wanted to get your perspective on was that they were saying, I was listening to the Players Lounge the other day, and it was saying that they'd be surprised if Zeke came back. I mean, this is another thing that needs to be handled with fine gloves too, because Pollard, I mean, I don't really know. You probably know more than I do about it, but how the extent of that injury or how bad it is. I know he didn't need surgery on the fibula, which was great news, but I heard he did have to have surgery on the ankle. Yeah. And everybody wants to unload Zeke. I mean, I'm not in favor of that. They're going to have to really look at, you know, can they do something with his contract and work with him and try to keep the guy.
Go check out the Doc Talk we did last week. It should be the first video where I had Doc on. He actually talked about the Tony Pollard injury in depth.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, great.
Yep. Check that out.
What was that? What day was that?
I'm not sure the day. You'll see it, though. It'll say Doc Talk Tony Pollard. It'll see the thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
It was 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe. But he talked in depth about the injury. You'll probably come out of it feeling a little bit better about it. But I just got to chuckle because they still may have an easy decision, but the decision is made a little bit more difficult, or it's thrown you off because of the injury. Like nothing that can be easy for Dallas. Like the Tony Pollard Zeke thing should have just been a no brainer, but now it's like, well, what about the Tony Pollard injury? Like is that in the back of your head, right? But Zeke, we'll get to that when we do our hindsight review on the running backs. Maybe we'll do that next. But I just don't.
Your best case scenario, GM Skywalker. What would you like to see them do as far as adding talent to the receiver room? Either whether it be free agency or the draft. What's your perspective take on that?
I have to give you this terrible answer because I don't like to give away all the content. All right, I need y'all to come back. I would. So I'm gonna give you a terrible answer, Russ. Sorry. I would look into free agency, pick up these phones and look into free agency for some of these trait guys, some of these fits, these veteran fits or what have you. But I am definitely looking into the draft for maybe not a Lamb type. I don't know if there's going to be one of those, but a guy that can come in here and say, I don't give a damn about no Jalen Tolbert. I don't give a damn about no Michael Gallup. I don't give a damn about no Simi Fehoko. If those boys don't step up, I can produce, whether it be because of the scheme or the trait. So you're talking pick 26. You're talking day 2 in the second round. I am looking like receivers at the top, man. It's at the top for me at this point until proven otherwise. So I'll look in free agency to cover my bases like they always do, but wide receiver has to be a day 1 or day 2 pick at this point, in my opinion.
Hopefully, with McCarthy, running the offense and to be doing all the tools at his hands, hopefully he can put his stamp on the offense like what Dan Quinn's been able to do with the defense, bring in guys you never even heard of and make him shine and make him, he's doing a lot with the draft, and hopefully that from where you're coming from is what exactly McCarthy can do with the offense pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look at his history, maybe I have to dig that up again. I did it when he first got hired. You look at his history, I mean, he's done that. I mean, the Packers did not help Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers from a personnel standpoint. They said, you're going to draft, you're going to develop. They didn't go out and get these first round, second round receivers every year or sign these big time free agents. So McCarthy had to actually, make sure they picked the right guys. And did it always work out? No, but majority of the time, it hit. So yeah, maybe McCarthy can do that with a semi or with a rookie or a journeyman wide receiver. But I would like to also lean on one of these guys being good enough to where they can do their own thing too.
You think Gallup's going to turn this around, or
you got to show me?
I just hope he's not a Terrence Williams deal where he just doesn't ever come on the scene like he should.
You know what's crazy about that? You brought that up. I'm gonna look something up. Gallup got to show me, man. I'm discouraged because of all the injuries, and I think you saw it take a toll. We kept saying it week in, week out. He does not look right, and then it comes out right after the season. Hey, dog, I got to get ankle and knee surgery. So clearly he wasn't right. So he just got to show me he could return back to pre-injury prone guy where he was a beast, but. T-Will. Appreciate the call, Russ.
Yeah, just one last thing real quick. I'll let you go, and I'll listen to your awesome air after. Hey, this year I'm looking at going to the stadium and the Star. Later on, if you could ever just send me an email or advice of like who to look up as far as like tickets and when I should react. And I want to go see the Star, and I also want to go to a game next year. And I've always wanted to go, and I'm up here from New York, and always wanted to go down there and see AT&T Stadium. So, if you have any connections or you think who I should look up, and let me know, and I'd be appreciated.
Hit up my guy Jay Tuck. Jay Tuck, he don't live in Dallas, but you might as well say, dude, this is second home, man. You know Jay Tuck, CFO Sports?
No, nope, I don't.
He's in the chat. He knows how to get all the connects, the tickets, the tailgating, where to be, all that stuff, man. Hit up Jay Tuck.
Jay Tuck. Okay. Yep. All right, man. Have a great day. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the show.
Thank you. He said T-Will, and I had to go look like, wait a minute. Yeah, I was like, never mind. I thought T-Will had his best year was 2015. Shit, yeah, if he went the T-Will route, that'd be super disappointing. That'd be super disappointing. Yeah, we don't want that. This is how I know Will wasn't here yesterday. Because the chat is going crazy with him again. What is happening, man? Wait. Hey, Tuck, hit up my guy Russ D. You in here, Tuck? He must. Oh, there you go. Yeah, man. He knows this area about the Cowboys facilities and all like the back of his hand. I've obviously been to the stadium and live and the Star and things like that, but this is what Tuck do. Season ticket holder. My favorite body catcher. Look, T. Will was a body catcher, but boy, he might have been an elite body catcher. What I was going to say was, shoot, maybe T. Will might have had a better career, but I was like, their careers are about the same. They about the same. I don't think they. If honestly, you probably have to give it to Gallup because Gallup had a 1,000-yard season in 2019, and T. Will's best season was 840. But he had 3 consecutive really solid years. I don't think you can say that about Gallup, can you? It's a conversation. I'm gonna just say it's a conversation. It might have sounded crazy 2 years ago, but if you said T. Will, Michael Gallup, I don't think you can just be like, oh, Michael Gallup has just had this amazing career in Dallas. Yeah. T. Will didn't end well, but he started real good. I know the get out of bounds game 2016. Yeah, DA, they damn near identical. I agree. JT said, Skywood, who would you rather trade for D-Hop? Oh, trade for D-Hop or Michael Thomas? That first D-Hop. D-Hop. I'd take D-Hop over any other available wide receiver. Free agency, trade, D-Hop. 100%. You want to talk about a guy that teams fear. Talk about a guy that it don't matter who's around him. He gonna get open. You know, he's gonna be reliable. He's a trustworthy guy. He's gonna dictate coverages. Yeah, give me D-Hop. Michael Thomas just unfortunately seems like he can't get right. Give me D-Hop all day tomorrow. D-Hop is people got D-Hop up. He got suspended. Go look at his numbers when he came back with whoever the hell at quarterback. And this has been him his whole career. Like his whole career, he's played with mediocre to bad quarterbacks, except for maybe like 2 or 3 times. And he's just produced because he's that guy. So give me D-Hop over anyone. 505. What it is, what it do?
Hey, Will Steele, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Good morning, good sir.
Yeah, I saw that interview that you did with that doctor. That was incredible. That's the kind of content that I think we need because it educates us so that we're not just out here, giving opinions without facts.
Right.
So that was awesome. I got to drop you a nice super chat when I get off the phone here because I got to support that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot.
That was the stuff. Absolutely. Now, you might get mad upset with me for the take.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Let me get my button ready. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's related to the topic. But, I threw this at Law Nation yesterday, and I want to know your opinion because one thing that I do appreciate about you is your rebuttals are always thoughtful and you bring facts. And you take emotion out of it.
Nah, listen, don't give me all that credit. I get emotional just like y'all too. So don't give me all that.
Yeah, but in debates, you bring logic and reason.
I try.
Okay, so here's my thought with that. Okay.
Yep.
I think 2-year deal, $80 million guaranteed. Okay.
Oh,
and what that allows.
So rework it all together.
Yeah, just tear up what you got now.
Okay.
Give him a new guaranteed $80 million deal over 2 years.
Kirk
so you lower the cap
deal. That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yes. Okay? And then what that allows you to do, because we have some serious decisions coming up. You got Micah coming. You got CeeDee. You got Diggs where you got to make decisions. You got Pollard, okay? So my point in all of that is you got 2 models that are staring us in the face in the Super Bowl. Okay, and if you can read the lay of the land, you see what it is as far as how to get to and win a Super Bowl. You got the Mahomes model, okay, and then you got the Hurts model. Now, Mahomes He's got a couple nice pieces around him in Kelsey and Chris Jones,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody else they just drafted really good, and they got some good players, right? That's basically what it is. But Mahomes is the difference. He's that dude that can elevate everything else around him and get you there.
I think
and then
you
you got
gotta,
Jalen Hurts.
You also got to throw in the Rams model from last year too.
Yeah, that's kind of like the
and Tampa
Hurts
Bay
model,
the year
really.
before.
Yeah, it's kind of in between those two models, but it's closer to the Hurts model, right? That's why they're basically having to start over because they went all in. They won a Super Bowl, and I think Cowboys Nation would take that deal, right?
Mm.
But my point is Dak has proven to us, and no disrespect to him, he's a solid quarterback, but he's proven to us beyond the shadow of a doubt he can't do what Mahomes can do. And damn near nobody can.
Doubt about it. He's not.
Okay?
There's Mahomes, and then there's everybody else, in my opinion.
Exactly. So he's not that dude that can take up 1/3 of the salary cap and make up the difference for everybody else you can't put around him, right? That's my point.
You can,
so,
but he's not that dude if your team doesn't elect to do that is going to carry your team to Super Bowl promised land, right? Like that's you're going to have to do it in the mode of like Tampa and LA. You're going to still have to go out there and swing for the fences, man. I mean, there's only one Mahomes, and even Mahomes prior to this year still had a loaded squad. I mean, you can kind of say he still has a good team, but I digress.
Right, but we missed our window, okay? Because really, you got Michael on a rookie deal, you got CeeDee on a rookie deal, so you got Diggs on a rookie deal. So this was our window to do it, and maybe you can extend that by a year or two, and then that's why I'm saying you go all in these next 2 years, but you set yourself up just in case it doesn't work is my point. Because I think, for one, Dak in a West Coast offense, he might be that dude. Okay,
Man,
we're
excited.
getting ready to find out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it in there. Yeah.
Because I've been saying that all along. I said Dak's in the wrong offense. He needs a West Coast offense. He's not a straight drop back, Kellen Moore, Scott Linehan quarterback. He can't play the game that way. You put him in a West Coast offense, and I think we're getting ready to see what we thought we were going to see all along. But you still have decisions to make because you can't have Dak, Micah, and CeeDee on the same team. You're not going to do it.
We got to be careful with a hyperbole, saying he can't operate an offense. He's clearly done more than just operating the offense. Like he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league under this, in my opinion, offense that's, like you say, not really tailor-made for him. That just goes to show you, in my opinion, the his level of play that he can have in an offense that, in my opinion, is not tailored for him. Now let's see if we can get an offense that is more tailored for him and what he can do moving forward.
That's what I'm looking for, because my mind's made up in the other offense, because in the moment of truth, okay, and we can't deny it. None of us can. In the moment of truth, we can say what we want to say. Yes, they should have had a better number 2 when they let go of Amari and all these things. But the bottom line is we were right there.
We were right there.
And in that game, you had T.Y. Hilton running wide open.
No. I got to correct you on the T.Y. thing. You want to talk about the Gallup thing? Sure. The T.Y. thing has been proven by quarterbacks, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, that was the correct read. The play you should be coming at. It was a correct read because the blitz came. You have to throw into the blitz.
I don't agree. Here's the thing. You
break
can
it
say,
down.
Break
it down if you want.
So let's do that. Let's do that, okay? Because now I didn't coach, NFL or college level, but I've coached a quarterback and I understand the position. What I'm saying is, if you say that was the right read, here was the problem with it. He was too late, which is he's always been indecisive and too late, and they were communicating the wrong thing to him. Yes, he was, because once Fred Warner, you're talking about basically they were in cover 2. They were Tampa 2, okay? Fred Warner, at the snap of the ball, he turns and sprints towards CeeDee Lamb, right?
That's not Tampa. So here's the thing.
He was taking away the middle of the field. That's
was
what he was
basically playing man defense on CeeDee Lamb. That wasn't Tampa 2. Fred Warner, if he was running Tampa 2, he would have just ran straight back, probably more so backpedal. What they did was they disguised the blitz, and they brought the blitz front side right in Dak's face, and you are taught to throw into the blitz because that's where the opening is. And CeeDee Lamb runs that it's not his fault, but it's the seam route, right? That's what we do. CeeDee Lamb doesn't go in motion. He runs the seam. That was the correct read Fred Warner is just an alien, and also CeeDee Lamb dropped the ball. If we're being completely honest, the ball was put there. Now hindsight says, "Oh my God, T.Y. Hilton is open on this left side," but he does not have time to come back to the left side before he gets blasted by the blitzing slot corner. Like, we forget there's a blitz, right? It's not like it's a free runner. It's not a chip. It's not anything. You don't have time to come back to your left side. And I urge you to go watch Kurt Warner's breakdown of this play. Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner break down this play. I urge you to do it, and you'll come back, I think, like, oh snap, that was the one. I don't even want to spend time on this one because
for all of that. Okay.
the one he missed,
respect for all of that.
the one he missed that we really should be getting on is the Michael Gallup one. That's the one.
Yeah,
and
CeeDee on another one where CeeDee had to come back for the ball. But on that play,
he caught the, still 50-something yard throw at the CeeDee Lamb. You still got opportunity to go down and score, and you didn't do it. So
you lay it out there. You lay that ball out there. That's a touchdown. Is the point though that you got to have those.
You still got to convert even after you make the catch, though. I mean, not every throw is going to be a perfect throw. You got a first down. You got a 50-yard conversion. Go score the damn touchdown to get ahead. But
agreed. But my whole point is with this team, with the talent that you didn't have at the number 2 receiver, you still had an opportunity with competent quarterback play to win that game. Okay,
absolutely.
That's reality. And
nobody would disagree with you there, man. Given even all the nonsense, we still had a chance to win that game, and he played bad. I think we went over that ad nauseum in those moments. He played bad.
Right.
And that sucks because the week before that, in a do-or-die game, he was fantastic. And that's what makes it frustrating is that playoff game, do-or-die on the road, you were great. And then the next game, playoff game on the road, you were terrible. Not just not good. It was terrible in those moments. And that's why I say this offense.
That's what it's been his whole career. Still.
It's not been his whole career, but under this offense of late, this has been the theme with Kellen Moore's offense. It starts off hot, gets weird late, and now we're hoping for the best. I'm tired of hoping for the best when we get into these moments and these situations. I want to be confident in what we're doing.
That's right. So that's why you got to take the information that you have, take the emotion out of it, and say, okay, look, I got a quarterback, because I was one saying I wasn't even worried about that Tampa Bay game going into it. I said the game I'm worried about is the next one because our quarterback is up and down. He's due to kill Tampa Bay because he was terrible against Washington. So I didn't worry about Tampa. Tampa's not San Francisco.
That's so simplistic. Okay? That's so simplistic.
It's the truth.
To say. I don't think that. I think that's.
It's the truth.
I don't want to use the term lazy, but I don't think that's the case. I think it is. The case is, like you said, the latter part. San Francisco is not Tampa Bay, right? Like, their talent-wise, their scheme and all that stuff, and they've had our number more recently, right? Well, technically Tampa had it in week 1, but the team was a bit different. They've had our number from a defensive standpoint, and I would go that part as opposed to just one game, the other game I can guarantee is going to be bad. I mean, look, dude.
But that's what we've seen in games that matter. That's what we've seen from Dak Prescott.
Like playoff games.
Well, I'm saying big games where
what do you consider big games?
Teams that aren't scrubs. Well, let's say teams that aren't scrubs. If he has 2 games against teams that are, and I know Tampa was down this year, but they're still Tampa with Tom Brady. So you can say that, and it's a playoff game, okay? And he showed up in that game. Yeah. So what I've seen from him, he's not going to put 2 games like that back-to-back against legit teams. That's just the reality of what we've seen.
I mean, if we're going to do that, if we're going to do that, the Cowboys have shown they have not been able to put back-to-back games in 27 years. Yeah. If we're just going to be as simplistic as that and then eliminate all context,
he's a symptom of it, though.
And sure,
he's a symptom of what they've done.
But it doesn't sound like you're saying he's a symptom of that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I am. Well, he's kind of fallen into that somehow. Okay, because I think this stat is true. 48 games and counting, where Dak Prescott has not put back-to-back games together without a turnover.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? That's a serious trend that tells you when people say, well, it's not in his DNA. Well, if you want to say interceptions like he threw this year, that would be accurate. If you want to say mistake-prone and turnover-prone, you can't say that because 48 games without putting back-to-back without a turnover.
That's a stat that gets drummed up because you're a Dallas Cowboy. Same thing that happened with Trevin Diggs. Same thing that's happening this year with Dak Prescott. The problem is, the reason why interceptions can be directly tied to you more often than not is because you are essentially throwing the ball. Fumbles is what you're talking about. You're getting hit behind. You can't really control that. Like, it is what it is. But the interceptions, that's why people say, well, throughout his career, he was number 2 in all-time in interception percentage. And that's why I believe it's an anomaly. Fumbles, I don't really worry about that. That's more fluky, and we saw that get corrected this year, if you want to call it corrected. It's the interceptions that we need to see go down next year. And I think this system, the new one, if it's West Coast, I think will help not just him. I think it'll help everybody.
I believe in the guy. I do. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to put everything on it. I'm going to give myself an out. I'm going to draft a quarterback this year, and I'm going to get ready if I have to do it and pivot to the Jalen Hurts plan, because that's your next option. And I guess that's all I'm saying, because I don't know that Dak can actually – because he's going to be eating up a third of the cap regardless. And you tell me how you're going to keep him, CeeDee, Micah, Diggs.
You can do it.
How you going to do that?
You can do it. I mean, that's – man, I don't got my button no more, but, boy, Stephen Jones got us. Stephen Jones got us by the goddamn collar, and we're just buying it hook and crook. You can absolutely do it. But I don't want to get into the cap.
So?
I know so.
Micah's gonna be pushing 30 million, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't know what I don't know what Micah's going to push. It doesn't matter. The cap is going to continue to go up. You can do the numbers. You can mess around. That's not an issue. But what you're saying is more, what you're saying about the draft and the quarterback. I'm actually not opposed to that. We had this conversation when we had the Dak show. I actually don't mind taking the quarterback day 2 or 3 because you heard what Jerry said. And if it doesn't work out like you said, now you got your guy that you can move along in the process under the rookie contract. But now let's bring it full circle. You had that guy under a rookie contract with a team, and you did nothing to take advantage of it. So I'm going to bring this whole thing all the way back. You're now asking the team to do something that they don't normally do, right? Which is, all right, we got this rookie quarterback. Let's go spend money, right? That's what you're saying. The Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts model. I'm asking him to do the other side of that. You have your quarterback. Go for the gusto, like these other teams have done. The Tom Brady's in Tampa, the L.A. Rams, the Chiefs. We've seen it even with the Niners. People think that Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't taking up cap. Jimmy Garoppolo was getting paid a lot of money, right? And if you go
does a 2-year, $80 million deal let you do that? Because that's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing.
You can do whatever you want to do. It's just a matter if they want to be able to do it. I don't know about because there's things in your contract. 2 years, $80 million. I don't know what is a cap hit going to be. You're talking about guaranteed. That sounds like it's damn near guaranteed $40 million cap hit.
That's $40 million a year. That's better than 49 and 52.
He has not counted $40 million against the cap ever. He's only counted.
He's getting ready next year to count 49.
Right, but he's never see people don't. I'm giving you the information right here. Dak Prescott has only accounted more than $19 million on the cap one time. Name me the offseason the Cowboys won all in during that time.
No, I'm not debating what has happened. I'm not debating what has happened. I'm saying what needs to happen now, right? So my point is he's going to count $49 million against your cap next year. You can't go into next season like that.
They're not going to go into next season like that. He's likely getting an extension, which is why I don't waste my time with that because he's probably getting extended. You can't go into you can, but they probably won't go into a $50 million cap hit. That's just likely not to happen. The point being is what you're not saying, what you're trying not to say here, is that the front office needs to change up what the hell they do. Damn the quarterback. Whoever the quarterback is, whether it's the rookie or whether it's Dak, you're basically saying the front office needs to take that all-in approach. It's just a matter of who the hell the quarterback is at the time.
Yes.
I digress.
Exactly. No, we agree on that. So I'm not so Dak-centric necessarily. I'm saying let's see what he can do, and I'm not blaming everything on him, but I'm reading the lay of the land, and I'm saying there are 1 or 2 ways that you can do this thing. And some of y'all are betting on the fact that Dak is closer to Patrick Mahomes than he is to Jalen Hurts.
Whoa.
No,
Don't
I'm
throw
saying
me in that. Don't
okay,
throw
well, I'm hearing a lot of people out there, maybe it's not you, but there are a lot of people who appear to think that Dak is closer to Patrick Mahomes than he is to Jalen Hurts, okay? And I've seen enough. I know he's closer to Jalen Hurts, all right? And that's not a bad deal. Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl.
Sir, who is calling Dak Prescott the Patrick Mahomes of the league?
Well, again, I'm not saying anybody's calling him that. I'm saying they feel like in what they're wanting us to do that he's closer to that. Now, you're on some different stuff because you're basically saying there ain't no cap problem. And I don't see how you're saying
I love
that.
to play this type of game. You said, repeat what you said. He's closer to what now? People are saying he's closer to what?
People are implying at least that he is closer to Patrick Mahomes than he is to Jalen Hurts.
No, you said something else besides that. Now it slipped my mind. But it's cool.
Well,
I don't know anybody implying that he's closer to Patrick
You are basically saying that the cap is not going to even matter going forward, and you can have Dak, you can have well, if that's true, then I would agree with you. If that's true, I just don't believe that. Like, how are you coming up with that? I don't see how your numbers can add up to that.
Sir, did you not just see the Los Angeles Rams or the Tampa Bay Bucks or, you know what I mean? Did you not see it? Did you not see the Broncos? They did it as well. I mean, there's multiple ways to skin the cat.
Their quarterback wasn't at $40 million, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Again,
but I don't think
Dak
he was.
Has never counted $40 million against
but
the cap.
He will going forward though. See?
He won't.
You don't think he will?
No. He will get extended. If they elect not to extend him, then that will tell you way more about what they look with the future, right? They'll say, well, we don't really want to extend him. We're going to take the risk of having a $50 million cap hit, and then we'll just cut Dak Prescott next year or something along the lines. Like, that'll tell you honestly more, in my opinion, than an extension. So again,
let me just say this: if you're right about that, okay, and you can keep Dak and Micah and CeeDee and Diggs,
and just
Diggs,
like you can keep,
you can go either way
just like
that.
you can
but
keep,
if you can do that,
just like you can keep Stafford and Jalen and Donald and Leonard and like, bro.
Okay, all right, no, I hear you. And
Von Miller and Odell and
If you're right about
and
that,
Cooper
I would keep rolling with Dak Prescott then. Okay, if that's true, then you're right and I'm wrong. So we'll see.
But it's not about being right or wrong because there are multiple ways to skin the cat. What I'm trying to get you to do is see exactly where the base of your argument really sits at, and it's the front office. Because you can get rid of Dak Prescott. Don't matter. Bring in this rookie. Do you trust the front office to do the same approaches, which is basically saying, with that rookie? Question, do you trust him?
No,
I don't.
I'm not really, but I don't trust him either way.
Well, then, brother,
I could say that same thing to you, right?
Well,
because you're wanting them to do something
right.
they never done either.
Right. So look. So here's the thing. I don't trust him to do it with the rookie guy. So I'm saying I got my top 10 guy now that can help, that can lead me closer, in my opinion, than a rookie would be able to, given if they're going to continue this, we're not going to go out and sign guys with the rookie quarterback. Brother, you're going to have a ridiculous hit that you had from the year 2012 or 2013 to 2016 in the draft. Like, it's going to have to be like that. Like, that was one of the best runs in Dallas Cowboys probably history or modern history in the draft. And maybe they'll do that. But the odds of that actually happening are slim to none and closer to none. So I'd rather take my chances with this guy right now for the next 3 seasons to see if we can hit lightning in a bottle, then tear the whole thing down, operate the same way, and say, "Hey, second round rook, go win it for us with Noah Brown as wide receiver 2."
No, if we can keep those other guys and Dak, then I agree with you 1,000%.
Mm.
It's just that wasn't my understanding of their cap situation. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but we're on the same page if what you're saying is true. But I know the Rams did that one year, and then they got blown up this year, right? Because they couldn't do it more than 1 year.
They didn't
so
blow
keep
up.
that in mind.
They did not blow it up. They went out and they signed Bobby Wagner. They just weren't good this year. Their quarterback got injured. They weren't, cohesive in the beginning of the season. But, honestly, like we said, we don't care about that. If we were to win a Super Bowl and suck the next year, no one cares. That's just the cost of the of the price. But they're not the only ones. I mean, I forget who I saw it. When the Saints won, he wasn't on a rookie contract. When Peyton Manning won both of his Super Bowls, he wasn't on a rookie contract. The Saints been on the precipice of going to the Super Bowl for years under, Drew Brees' contract situation. We just saw the Rams do it, Tampa Bay. A lot of people have this misconception that the Patriots just, pay Tom Brady nothing. It's not the case either. They still remain aggressive. I mean, there's ways around it. Howie Roseman has showed you. Howie Roseman showed you that you can tear down or you can build up, whether you got a guy you're paying or a guy you're not paying. Like, there's multiple ways, brother. We just want our team to find that way.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Good conversation, man. Fantastic conversation.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Very much so, man. And keep up the great work for us. I appreciate it very much. I enjoy your show.
Thank you, man.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, this is kind of going back to what we were talking about last week. Probably half the fan base wants the blow up scenario, and I say cool. But are we going to change our ways? So I think people got it twisted when it comes to me. I just want to win. I just want to win. And I want to figure out the best way to do that. I can be persuaded. No doubt about it. And we had that conversation last week or whatever it was, 2 weeks ago. So where we said, okay, how do we blow it up and still find ourselves in that window in the next couple of years to do so? How do we do it? And it seemed like we came to the conclusion that the front office is going to have to change its ways. That's all. Not change its ways. Y'all want them to change their ways with a rookie quarterback? I like them to change their ways right now. And then if that doesn't work, then we got the rookie quarterback, whatever. It's that simple, man. For me, I'm not sitting here pounding on the table. This guy's the best quarterback, top. I don't give a damn about none of that. I know he's good enough because I've seen quarterbacks on that level or worse do so. So, I don't know. Just don't want people to get it twisted because I see a lot of people put me in this category, and I'm just like, man, y'all got me effed up. You got me effed up. 817, what it do? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. What's goody?
Oh, okay. I know I was there.
Yes, sir.
This is Daryl. This is Daryl from Fort Worth, not Dallas. Appreciate it.
I think I remember you calling the Vacha show.
I did.
Yeah. Okay, what's up, Daryl from Fort Worth, not Dallas?
Because they keep trying to just talk about Dallas. They'll never want to talk about Fort Worth. I got to, throw it up for my AO, area.
So check this out. When I moved down here, I often heard, even before I moved down, because I listened to 105.3 and stuff, I always hear Dallas, Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth. I legitimately, for a second, thought, damn, is it really Dallas, Fort Worth? Like, is that the actual city? Then I got down here and it's like, nah, it's Fort Worth and Dallas. I'm like, oh, all right. That makes sense. They two different cities.
It's who you talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big rivalry. I don't know if you really caught all of that, between
I didn't
high school level.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh man, if you understand high school football in Texas, then you understand that the fan base in Texas is crazy about football, and so it's heavy. And it even goes back to, colonial times, Cowboys and Indians versus the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
This is where the West begins. So this is Cowboys over here, and this is banking over there. Goes way back. Business, one of the richest guys from Fort Worth a long time ago said, every time I go to Dallas, I pack a lunch because I don't want to spend a dime in that city. It's hard.
I already know. It's on your mind. He said Fort Worth, not Dallas. But what's good, Daryl, from Fort Worth, not Dallas?
All right, I appreciate your conversation this morning about Cooper, because I'm not even really ready to move on talking about the draft yet, because that's still working my nerves. So I appreciate it. And the facts need to be out there. You know, when they got rid of Coop last year, but the previous year, they were dogging and talking about he didn't, you know, his stats and stuff. And Cooper and CD's stats were higher. But when you look at the numbers closer, you know, his catch percentage was higher than CD's. I think his yards per catch were higher. All of that, he just didn't get as many targets as CD, so the results were different. And all they were looking at was the results. So I'm a good CD fan. I just think Cooper was a better receiver. Is a better receiver, period, point blank. That's what I believe. So we'd have kept both CD and Coop, you know, things could have been different last year. The other thing I think,
it would have been nice to have Cooper in that San Fran game, no doubt about it. We did have him last year. I think they caught us off guard. It would have been interesting to see, though, maybe the adjustments we might have made with the CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, even though Gallup wasn't all the way back. It'd have been interesting to see.
Right. So, and then, of course, the problem is not everybody wants to blame Dak. Nobody wants to talk about route combinations in this offense. Nobody wants to talk about that play design. You know, I watch the Hall of Famer, and he says, well, if I'd have drawn this, I wouldn't have done this. I'd have done that. You know, I think all that stuff makes a lot of difference. And people just look at the headlines and not go into the details. But to your real problem, it is with – I used to hear people say this, and I didn't really necessarily agree or disagree. But the real problem is the front office. You know, you can go back to when they extended Zeke, gave him all the money when he had 2 years remaining on his rookie deal.
Zeke,
you know,
and Jalen Smith. We forget that screw up.
Well, they screwed up on them second rounds for a long time.
But that was the same offseason, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all knew. That's the crazy part. It's like, how can the fans know, and then the people in the front office and they get paid millions of dollars not know?
Oh.
Hello.
I mean, when you want to do it your way, man, you know, it doesn't really matter. I shouldn't say it don't matter, because they do often bring up, but they say they bring up the fans and all that stuff, but when you want to do it your way, you're going to do it your way. And I felt like that offseason was interesting. Like, they were sending a message to Dak. Like, hey, we got this pie. You better hurry up and get a piece. Because remember, that's where the pie thing came from.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You're right. I forgot about that. And Dak called their bluff. Yeah. And that's when we could have had Dak for about $25 million, $28 million.
These fools.
That season. So you got Dak. And then I wouldn't have re-signed. I'd have made Zeke play, or I'd trade him.
Yeah.
Because at the time we had Tony Pollard. We had Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
That was Tony's, second year?
No, first rookie year. It was his rookie year. I mean, they should have definitely let Zeke sit out if he really was going to. Tony Pollard would have ate up against those terrible teams at the beginning of the season, and his whole tune would have changed, and he'd have been brought back in here. But revisionist history, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, okay. So I got to get that off my chest before I can go on to go forward. So I think we're there. I'm looking. See, I don't think I really have much else to say about the future. We just have to do better. I don't know. To me, we have to prioritize certain areas. You always got to prioritize the offensive line. Just period. Left tackle, right tackle. You got to make sure you got that stuff solid. Then you got to make sure you got your corner solid. You got to make sure you got your receiver solid. So that's where we got to go in the draft first, and where we got to go in free agency. You then fill in the bones from there. But I don't know that we always do that.
Yeah, it's usually the other way around. I'll talk about that here in a second, Daryl. But appreciate the call, Daryl from Fort Worth, not Dallas.
Not Dallas. Let's go. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Salute.
Peace.
Yeah, they'll. I think the Cowboys are. I mean, if I had to guess right now, they're going to go along the same lines that they usually go along, right? We're going to try to cover our bases in free agency. We're going to try to sign bargain bin guys, Stephen Jones criteria guys, to allow us to be flexible in the draft, right? Where we don't have to be pigeonholed into one position, and we could be quote unquote BPA. I'm BPA-ON, BPA of need, position of need, BPA, PN, whatever you want to call it. And Dallas is going to have a handful of those. And at 26, honestly, at 26, you're just how the board falls. You're at the mercy of how the board falls anyway. And I think you're in, use the term greater position, but in a more loose position to do the whole BPA of position of need. But maybe we'll start this tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. We do need to start looking into free agency. Free agency is a month and about a week away. A month and a week away, and it's not really a crazy free agent class as is. So this actually may fit right up Dallas Cowboys alley, Stephen Jones alley. I don't expect them to be spenders. I expect them to continue to shop in the Stephen Jones criteria, but that doesn't mean we can't find some guys that can help out on an intermediate level. And it always brings me back, like, you can hope that a guy turns into a J-Ron Curse, but that doesn't happen all the time. Normally, they end up being, at best, the foulers, right? Where they contribute, they hit here and there throughout the season, but by the time, where it matters, you're like, where was he at? What happened to him? I think he had like 6 snaps in the playoffs, but, and I'm just using those two guys, but Dallas signing one of those type of impact dudes, probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. So we got to find out where they can get the best value from Marshalls. King said, what you said, we don't want Sky DW about FA. We don't do anything like always. Yeah, we don't, but we still got to dig into the free agency because we're going to be involved, I think. It still blows my mind that last year in free agency, the Cowboys signed 2 people. Like, that's crazy. Even if you're going to sign a bunch of, and this is what pissed me off about last offseason. I say, I'm cool because I understand this is what we do as Cowboys, as a Cowboys front office. We're going to sign a bunch of bargain guys. I'm cool if that's what you're going to do because I'm not expecting you to do anything else. But do it like you did in 2021 or 2020 or whatever it was. You sign a gang of bargain bin dudes and said, shoot, we just going to close our eyes and hope somebody hits. But when you sign 2, your odds drastically decrease on hitting. And you only hit on 1. And that hit really didn't matter by the end of the season. You didn't even play him in the playoffs. So, but if that's how they're going to roll, then damn it, give me a gang of them dudes. Give me 6, 7, 8 bargain bin dudes, and let's hope for the best. Let's see if we can get a J-Ron Curse out of the situation. Forget it, Ryan. No, Foot's the king in the building. I thought I saw Law up in here. Appreciate the homies coming through. Foot said, I never thought I'd say this, but go get Odell so we can go O-line in the draft. He's, we talked about this earlier, Foots, when we broke down this current stable of wide receivers. Odell, to me, will be below Keenan. I would much rather go after Keenan Allen. Odell would be we struck out on Hop, we struck out on Keenan, we struck out on the top free agent guy we want. Let's go holler at Odell. I don't think they can completely ignore the position in free agency. I don't think they can do that. But he's a huge question mark to me, man. Huge question mark. But I'm with you on the O-line. The O-line, like I said earlier, like wide receivers right there. Look, O-line's right there. Corner, maybe we'll have that conversation a little bit. But O-line is definitely right there for me in regards to who they're going to draft. Or should draft right now. Let's get to the super chats and get up out of here. Good stuff today. Man, I just saw a big one, I think, from our guy that called in earlier. Apologies. Fantastic conversation. Look, I don't mind those type of conversations as long as I'm gonna just leave it at that. Lamont dropped one. Appreciate you, Lamont.
Super chat.
He said he He ain't used up all those free minutes yet. I think you were talking about, I think it was Thomas who called in. Thank you, Thomas. He dropped 50.
Super chat.
50 burger and said, great show still. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Stargazer.
Super chat.
Drop 1. You would also have to have ridiculous personnel and coaching if you want to bring in a rookie to lead the franchise to the Super Bowl. # sign Dak. I mean, you ain't lying. I'm trying to think of the odds of a rookie that hasn't happened. So that's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, if you look at, and I used to bring this up. I'm big on like the history or whatnot. Years ago, right at the tail end of the Tony era. When you look at the guys like a Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, as great as he is, Tom Brady. I think that's it. 4 guys who won the Super Bowl in their like second or third years in the league. Now go look at the coaching and go look at the personnel. 9 times out of 10, you're going to find legendary defenses. You're going to find Hall of Fame coaching. You're going to find a ridiculously talented team in general, right? Like, you're not going to find a middling coach, a middling roster. 9 times out of 10, there's high ends of talent, coaching, scheme, whatever you want to call it. They up here with it. Ben doesn't win a Super Bowl without one of the greatest defenses of the 2000s. Russ doesn't win a Super Bowl without the LOB. And you can go all the way if you want to do veteran guys too and talk about washed up, terrible Peyton Manning with the Broncos. Doesn't win a Super Bowl without the Broncos going all in, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. People forget that team went all in. That was the team to me that say, wait a minute. You can spend all this money and go win a Super Bowl. That was a team that did it for me. And I think you start to see other teams start to do more of that. But I digress. That's a great point, Stargazer. I mean, can you promise me when a new coach or when a new quarterback come here, we going to have one of them ones? I don't know. It's a mystery. Tyrone Melton dropped 1. Appreciate you. He said,
Super chat.
This offense will take off with the speedy tight end. Ooh, maybe we'll do tight ends next. I like Ferguson, Hendershot. I don't think you need to address tight end super high, but you can go ahead and grab a guy in free agency if McEwen's not coming back. I think you're set. I think you got good tight ends, man. I'm excited about this tight end group moving forward. And that's it for the super chats. Appreciate those super chat, squad. Appreciate that. Yeah, Will, you said he found the difference. Well, you're talking about the next year. Yeah. Ben was done. Ben, when Juju and AB was there, was still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Ben, by the end of Juju, or the end of his career, was, yeah. I mean, come on, man. You go from Ben Roethlisberger, 40 years old, washed up, to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what are we talking about here? Yeah, absolutely. The Big Steel said we should see what it takes to get Mike Evans. I saw something like that. I saw Mike Evans might be on the block. I don't know if he truly is or not, but think about it. No more Tom Brady. Maybe Tampa's like, all right, our guy's gone. We're going to tear this thing down. Shoot, yeah, I pick up the phone. That's fair too, Special K. I mean, top 3 might be a bit of a stretch, but I feel what you're saying. Like, historically speaking, I think our guy Will even talked about it. Like, most of these quarterbacks are first round guys, as was the term that was being thrown around. I mean, you got the Drew Breeses, the Daks, the Kirks, the Russes of the world who are, day 2 picks that have succeeded in this league, Tom Brady. But for the most part, if you're trying to go get that guy, you do got to get up there in that top 10 and hope for the best. And we often talk about the ones that have had success, but there are so many more quarterbacks that are not successful being drafted in that top 10. Like, way more. The number is ridiculous. But Nobody said this was ever going to be easy. Man, good stuff today, Cowboys Nation. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Shout out to the homies coming through. I'll be back on later on the Vosh Lombardi live show. I think we're talking draft today. Man, you missed yesterday's show. You got to run that back. We had a good time. We're talking draft today over there, so make sure y'all come through. And then Mo will be back on later tonight for A to Z Sports Prime Time. And you can catch me tomorrow morning. We'll be right back here talking Cowboys. Hey, Foots, I might have to hit you up, man. We might have to figure out a day and make, like we talked about this last week, make this a thing. Make this maybe a weekly thing or something. I don't know. I love talking draft with you, bro. So I might hit you up, big dog. With that said, Cowboys Nation, appreciate the donations. Y'all killed it in the chat. The calls were great. Hit this button. Max Dugan, his comp is Gardner Minshew. I'm not really a big fan of the boy, but he gonna look crazy in the USFL. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, great college player though. We'll see. Love y'all. We out of here. Peace.